In Chico, Texas, Quinn Ewers had the most fascinating room to wait to be drafted in that I've ever seen. We're trying to decide if that's a T-Rex in the right corner. Like, what is going on here?
Well, it makes me miss my buddy Jeff Saturday, but also it's too many. That's too many. Like, I feel like someone should come down there and rest. I understand it's legal to hunt, but that's just too many dead animals. I feel like something's wrong. You're killing all animals. Are there any left in Texas? Or are they all on the wall in Quinn Ewers' house?
As the night went on, I felt like there were more and more, right, Peter?
Just adding them. Just carcass after carcass after carcass. So much carcass.
Jeff Saturday was watching on TV going, oh, I got to get over there. Quinn, hit me up, man. All right. Anyway, we continue. Let's play a game of fill in the blank. All right, Schrager. Yeah. The biggest off-season winner. Now, the off-season is basically over now. There'll be a few little moves here and there, but it's basically over. So who is the biggest winner of the whole off-season?
Caleb Williams is your biggest winner of the entire offseason. He gets maybe the brightest offensive mind in all of football in Ben Johnson as his head coach. New guard, center, guard combo. And then in the draft, they go get Loveland, who could separate like he's a wide receiver.
Dominique, the biggest loser of this offseason in your mind is who?
Yeah, I'd say Kirk Cousins, because particularly coming out of the draft, we were expecting there to be one team at least that was in desperate need of a quarterback, and Kirk would be able to control his destiny, but it doesn't seem to be the case, and he's going to continue to wait until there's an injury or something like that. But then I looked at his contract number. He's got 2 years and $100 million still on his contract, so maybe he's the biggest winner. Man got $100 million and he don't got to work. Congratulations, Kirk Cousins. You just went from loser to winner in my book.
Fair enough. Okay. And then Tim Hasselbeck. I'm going to ask you to fill in a blank for me here. The Steelers gambling, it seems, everything on Aaron Rodgers is what?
It's risky, Greeny. I mean, look, the reality is, look, they're hoping that Aaron Rodgers is going to choose them back because they waited till the 6th round to draft a quarterback. They had opportunities, to draft prospects that probably seem more ready than Will Howard. Mason Rudolph, I can't imagine is the plan to go into the opener as a starter. So, I think it's risky, and that might even be a mild way of putting it.
So, Peter, help me. Yeah. I mean, there has to be. The Steelers are too good an organization to have everything as up in the air as it feels like right now. What is going on there?
Steelers are a good organization, but I don't think there is some handshake deal with Rodgers. I honestly believe Rodgers, and from what I'm told, talked to the Giants and the Steelers, and they looked at the Giants and said, hey, look, I have no timetable. I've got things going on in my personal life. If you have to move on, I totally get it. They did. They signed Jameis. They signed Russell. They got drafted a quarterback. He said the same exact stuff with the Steelers after working out with DK Metcalf, after going there and meeting with Tomlin and Arthur Smith. And they said, okay, we'll wait. They've put themselves in a corner here, but it is still only the end of April. And as I look at Rodgers throwing to Metcalf, I can't think that was all for naught. I can't think that was just, hey, of all the players, let me just throw to Metcalf this weekend in L.A. Right. They don't know if he's coming back yet. This might end up being like Ed Werder down in Hattiesburg waiting on Favre's ranch. I remember that. Yeah. I was there for all of it. Yeah. But I do believe they're holding out hope. And the exit strategy, you mentioned, and Dominique did it well, like Kirk Cousins, I'm sure there could be a deal to be had with Kirk Cousins if it ends up going that way.
Let's go back to Rodgers, though, Tim. Of all the things I saw in our notes last night, what you said about him I thought was my single favorite thing.
Look, the reality is, and Pete referenced Favre. Look, when Favre would throw in the offseason at 40 years old, you knew he was playing. When he stopped, he was done. Like 40-year-old quarterbacks don't throw in the offseason if they're not planning on playing football. It's just the reality of it. Look, I'm not the caliber of players we're talking about, but the same thing happened to me. You know why? Like, it hurts. Like, you don't do it anymore. Like, there aren't guys like Tom Brady. Like, you go like he's not throwing to guys right now. Like, when you're done, you're done. You don't throw in March, April, May if you're done playing football. Like, you don't do it anymore. And so I think the idea that, the fact that Rodgers did it, I think is a massive signal to what his plans are. You don't put cleats on. You don't drop back and throw if you're not planning on playing football at 40 plus years old.
Nick.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're so focused on will he or won't he, we haven't really talked much about how good will he be when he comes back. So it's funny to think of this as like the end-all be-all, and this is going to solve all the problems for the Steelers. We're assuming that he's going to come back and be some version of his all-pro self. That's not what we saw most recently from Aaron Rodgers. So they're still in a bad spot, even if they get Aaron Rodgers back. There's no guarantee that this team is going to be much better than they were last year.
Did you nod along at the Kirk? You said the Kirk Cousins thing. Like, is that?
Yeah.
I keep thinking.
Look, you look at the connections here. Raheem Morris and Mike Tomlin are best of pals. Arthur Smith was in Atlanta for years. It's an easy one. It's not in the division. It's not in the conference. If Kirk Cousins is going to make it, Steelers could say, we'll pay all of that stuff. Or at least you take some of it, and we'll get him off your hands.
They have a break glass option in this somewhere.
We got that Jets logo there. He's currently on the market. Who wants him? Well, the Steelers seem to be the team. Yet, is he actually going to play? Because you saw him on McAfee. He said, I've got some personal things to deal with.
Yep.
I'll tell you this. He told the Giants and the Steelers straight up, I have no timetable. If you want to move on, you can move on. The Giants, they opted to pivot. They went with Russell Wilson and of course, Jameis Winston, and now a rookie. Steelers, Will Howard's the only new quarterback they added. He's a 6th-round pick. 2, we got the schedule release, May 14th. It's a couple Wednesdays from now. And I want to see who the Eagles open up with. This, to me, is an interesting one. The NFL usually will pit the teams that they think are going to be relevant at the end of the season. The Eagles' schedule, some of the teams that they could play at home, well, the Rams, the Lions, the Bears, and how about the Raiders? Some interesting teams that they could possibly do, and of course the entire NFC East is a possibility. Who deserves that prime billing of that Thursday night game? My third one's an interesting one. James Cook. You're like, James Cook? Yeah, we know. Josh Allen's the MVP. A lot of running backs got paid this offseason, including Saquon getting a renegotiated deal that will make him the highest paid running back in the league. James Cook was unbelievable last year. He's entering the final year of his contract. His agent and him have publicly said they want more than $15 million. The Bills have scoffed at that number. James Cook is an amazing player. Awesome, and was huge in that AFC Championship game. They need him. Let's see what they can do. The last one is this. I go Shador, but it's really the Browns quarterback room. Like, I don't know if they can do Hard Knocks because of all the rules, but I would love to just have a camera on all of these names. Now, look, Deshaun Watson, he's going to be paid $46 million to not play. Must be nice. Then you got Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, who was drafted before Shador in the 3rd round, and then Shador Sanders. I'm curious, how does it work out in minicamp? How does it work out in training camp? And then when we get to week 1 with the Cleveland Browns, who is under center?
And that's your 2 minutes. Peter Schrager, a professional, breaking things down this morning on SportsCenter. Schrager's fantastic.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn câu tượng. Tượng hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là lông cừu. Các bạn, hôm nay tượng của mình là da cá sấu. Bây giờ mình sẽ bắt đầu tô.
Ông bà Thành không đưa tiền mẹ.
Dạ?
Thành.
Có sao mà đưa?
Đấy.
Không.
Không đưa.
Không.
Ông bà nó dâm. Nó bảo anh.
Cần quá.